welcome to Cybertopia cast interviews. This is Mark, who played Sir Ingram in Cybertopia. And yeah, Mark, why don't you introduce yourself, tell us a bit about your character and what your experience was like playing Cybertopia.
Sure thing. Hello everybody, I'm Mark. I've played Sir Ingram of Flashknuckle. Just your standard cyborg English gentleman. You know the type, right? The one with like electrical brawling gloves, a taste for tea that he has in his tea dispenser in his shoulder, you know, just your average stuff, you know.
Your classic android gentleman, yeah. Hilarious that whole tea thing just became a pretty overarching theme for the whole season. Like, every episode you're in, the tea was a pretty big feature, and yeah, just kept on coming back around. Even episodes you weren't in, the tea was a thing, so like...
What, seriously? Yes, I made a meme!
Yeah, man, and I mean, because it had such an impact on your second mission, where you're in the community and stuff, that is going to have an ongoing impact in the world, I think. Like, maybe it was a coffee-drinking city before you got involved in Amazing Core and spread the word of tea, but man, you had a big impact on this whole season.
Oh boy. Like, I didn't think it would have when I made this, okay? I was like, you know, I need one extra point for starter gear. Yeah, you know, let's go ham on the whole gentleman thing. Mm-hmm. Let's have him have like a portable tea dispenser.
Why not?
He's a tea dispensing cyborg. Let's go into that.
Yeah, and I mean, it was a funny line to go down because Jen, who played Maurice, who was like an ex-service worker, also had a similar sort of setup where she dispensed lemonade or drinks or random bits of utensils and stuff. So when you two were on that community neighborhood mission together, the bouncing off of each other with that stuff was hilarious and just worked so well together. And then, of course, in the finale, absolutely fucking bonkers, but like the whole party setup and you're out giving the tea to the ACM and everyone else is giving out the beer and the cocktails and stuff.
And like we need to get the party going. Okay, wait, so we have a party, we have people like dispensing tea. Wasn't somebody also like turning up music and that kind of thing? And like sweet talking the crowd?
Jeff was doing like the dance off and stuff, and yeah, it went completely off the hook. It was ridiculous and amazing. I think possibly one of the most, almost certainly the wackiest session I've ever done of any game. And it was amazing.
Good.
Like, it was silly, but it wasn't stupid, if you know what I mean.
Overbearing.
Like, yeah,
there was rhyme behind. Like there was some sense behind the madness. Mm-hmm. That's the way like TTRPGs should go.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
Yeah, and I think throughout the whole season we kind of managed to thread that line pretty well.
Oh yeah.
The last interview I did was with Jeff, and he was saying the system lends itself to shenanigans.
Oh yes.
It just gives you that space to be able to say, I'm going to do whatever, and I'm going to use this skill or whatever to do it. And yeah, it just gives you that freedom, right?
Yeah, and regarding the system, I really like the learnings.
Yeah, because you did well on them.
Put in. So when you are lucky and use the same skill over and over again, I mean, it makes sense that you learn something new.
Yeah. Yeah, and you especially, because you, I think, were one of the few people that managed to get a learning right from 1 to 3 and get a full new skill in that last episode. I forget what it was.
Sweet talking.
That was it, sweet talking, yeah.
I was talking a little bit too much, I think. No, I rolled too much on sweet talking people with tea.
I mean, it worked, right? And that's the whole idea of the system, right? Your growth is supposed to be organic. So if there is something that you're doing a lot and that you're rolling a lot on, then chances are you have a better chance of rolling that 20s on it. And you got very lucky on that front.
Also the trauma thing. Like you roll a 1. So all right, you have 1 relevant trauma. You reroll 3 times and you cure the trauma. Or you roll a 20, you learn from your mistake and instantly get a new learning. It's really a good payoff, especially the 1, even mechanically, motivates people to keep using the skill even though they have a penalty on it that's temporary. That's a really good call.
That was the big intention behind that. Of I don't want people to stop using something because they've suddenly got a trauma in it. If you get a negative, then you're like, oh, I don't want to use that anymore. But if you can gain something out of that, or if the way to get rid of that is to roll against it, then that's how you keep people involved and keep them going rather than giving up on a certain area. Not to say, actually, there was some occasions when people were rolling just terribly. And when the dice just go against you, that happens.
Oh, yeah.
And then you're like, I'm not going to roll anymore. And if you're not getting the nat ones, then you don't really have that incentive to be like, oh, come on, dice, turn it around. But that's the dice for you.
I remember the first mission at the clinic with the doctors and the 2 mutants or something at the end. Yeah. That rolls-wise, that battle, if I remember correctly, was just one cluster of bad rolls.
Yeah. And then at the end, it just came together and it just worked. But yeah, there was quite a divergence. I think there was some pretty big misses, and then it just kind of worked. Man, I often think back to that mission, Experimental Procedures. I think that was the second one that we ran, and it was hilarious.
Oh, yeah.
It was so difficult to edit because there was so much laughing throughout it. The 3 of you, you'd never played before. You and Morgan playing Zap, and then Chris playing Smart Coolman. You'd never played together, and you just went straight in, and everyone was bouncing off each other. You're all building on each other's things and working together, and it was hilarious. It was so funny, and I was laughing the whole time through the edit. It was an amazing session. Really good.
Oh, yeah. I do have to admit, you've got a pretty good sense of who to invite for these kind of sessions. Through the 3 episodes, we all vibed.
Yeah. Yeah,
it was
absolutely.
one big vibe.
Yeah. No, and I don't know if it was because of the groups that I put together out of the 16 of you, or if it was just the 16 people that applied were all of a similar mind, and like everyone knows me, and the community that I've gotten involved in this space in particular, because there's the large community and then the smaller group that I actually interact with regularly and stuff. You all fit into that niche of people who would apply to an open casting call for an APP, especially for an indie game that none of you have ever played before. But also that you knew me and had interacted with me meant that you were all of a somewhat like mind.
No, I mean, we already met before Cybertopia, right? I believe,
Yeah.
Where did we talk again?
I don't know, man. We've known each other on Twitter for like forever, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know, I'm in a few different Euro, UK, TTRPG Discords and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, but I don't think we played anything together before then. I can't remember.
No, I don't think so. I think we only interacted, probably swapped ideas here and there. You were also on the Hope for TTRPG Discord, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I've had to mute a lot of channels over the years just because I am in too many and I can't handle it all. All those little light notifications, I'm like, oh no, I'm missing out on messages. And then you spend 2 hours just unticking everything.
Yeah, like for the Hope Discord, I just gave up.
That was one of the ones that just got too big, I think, yeah.
Yeah, the Hope for TTRPG Discord is very big, extremely big. However, I'm still in it.
Yeah, same.
Just because there are so many veterans on there and so many people willing to help. If I have a question or help, I can always pop in there.
I think it's one of the spaces a lot of people kind of start out or really solidify their space. And I think that's the reason it has gone so big. Hope is also an amazing host and a lovely person.
Oh, yes.
I played a game of Overgrown with her before, and it was wonderful.
Oh, Overgrown. Oh, yeah.
So, there's a few of these kind of very good places, but I tend to prefer the smaller, more niche ones, particularly the EU and UK specific ones, because then you have people actually in the right time zone when you're up and talking.
Yeah, true enough. Yeah, if you have any good ones, any interesting ones, let me know.
Yeah. And like I've found some great people to play with and played in some good streams and stuff and one-shots and things. So I'll definitely link you up with some of those.
Excellent.
So getting back to Cybertopia a bit.
Getting off track.
Sir Ingram had a lot of action throughout his experiences. Are there any that particularly stick with you?
Well, the last episode. I played Sir Ingram. I believe I also, during the recording, PM'd you like, okay, Sir Ingram is getting a little bit of doubt in the back of his mind. If Awesome Corp was a little bit, it was going against his gentlemanly nature a bit.
Yeah.
And then that whole scene that he was sneaking up with 2 goons.
Yep.
Seeing that destroyed mech. And then backstabbed the 2 thugs, quote unquote backstab, because he said, yes,
the jig is up. Yeah,
the jig is up. Duel me now, peasants. Now, okay. And then that whole escalation.
Yeah, I remember during the session you divering over. Like, you're like, no, he wouldn't hit them in the back. Like he'd take it face on.
Yeah, that was very nice to think about. Like, okay, he is part of Amazing Corp. So, but he wouldn't leave them there to die, even though it was under orders. Yeah, so that whole thing was very fun to think about and had that little smidgen of character progression, like that little spark of realization going.
Yeah, right as the very last thing you did as well, right?
Yeah, so that's awesome.
It was really good, particularly in the finale episode. I think for most of the characters, or a lot of the characters, was the moment of the moral decision to be made. And for some of the characters, it was, do we let these robots go into this room full of people and blow them all up? Or for yourself, am I going to leave this person here just to die next to this flaming robot sort of thing? So it's really nice to have gotten those moments, because the rest of the missions, there was always a bit of a grey moralness to it, but you all kind of just went along with, yes, this is our mission, we shall do it. We'll do it in a nice way, or we'll do it in the best way that we can. But then when it comes to that finale of it, it's like, yeah, this is the shit hitting the fan in a grand scale. What do we do? So, yeah, no, really great formative moment for you there.
Indeed. So, question for you.
Yeah, go for it.
What was the most surprising turn of events for you? Not necessarily in the episodes Sir Ingram was in, but just in general. What took you the most off guard?
Oh, that's a good one. The most off guard. I have to think through all of the 20-odd hours of content that we went through.
I'm not apologizing.
There was one specific moment, actually, that I often think back to and was talking about just recently. I think it was the very last mission. It was Pan playing Nox, and we had Ray playing Buran, the mech pilot, and Kassa, who plays Amelia, who is like a cowgirl kind of person. And towards the end of that, they were kind of looting the body of this security guard that they knocked out. And Buran asked the classic, are we the bad guys?
Are we the baddies?
And Nox just replies, hell yeah, we're the bad guys. And they went and looted the body. I was like, okay, that's one of those moments. I've never had anyone say, yes, we're the bad guys. Let's do this.
I mean, we're evil. What the hell do you think we are? No, of course.
Yeah. So it was a really fun moment to have someone just kind of click with it and lean into the whole, yeah, we're corporate stooges. We're just doing the bad shit of the corp.
We are just following orders. Beep, boop.
Yeah. I mean, that said, they hadn't murdered the security guard. They didn't do really anything overly immoral or anything, but that was a fun moment. And I think this is a kind of theme that goes through the whole season of all of the episodes. I don't know how many of the other sessions you've listened to that you weren't in, but in all of them, it was always the kind of grey area of, okay, we're doing something for Amazing Core that seems like it may be a bit iffy, but there is a good purpose behind it. So, for instance, when you're shutting down that dodgy clinic, it's a dodgy clinic. The doctor is clearly doing some bad stuff, and it came through in the mutants that he created that then went on a rampage and attacked you.
Yep.
When you went to the neighborhood and the community and you're investigating what's going on there, there was a lot of, it was supposed to be poverty-stricken kind of rundown neighborhood sort of situation. You were hunting out people who were doing bad stuff towards Amazing Corp, and the end of that, actually, that was one of the big moments of a surprise for me, of your, as a group, lying to them about being on their side and that you were there to rescue them from Amazing Core because Amazing Core is coming to get you, and you get them to go into your van, and then you're like, gotcha, and then just go.
Yep.
That was when I suddenly saw a darker side to Jen in particular, because amazing player and amazing character Jen, it's just like, yeah, we're going dark here.
Yeah, let's go a little bit dark. Let's go.
So tell me more about where the idea for Sir Ingram came from, because you're one of the people who is not a native English speaker. You're not English or American.
No.
An English gentleman being played by one of the people on the cast that isn't English is hilarious to me.
Oh, yes. So, well, one of the things I like the contrast, you know, as a stereotypical English, like posh gentleman.
You do the accent so well.
A dark dystopian, like wasteland.
Yeah.
Like in desperate need of more tea. You know, that kind of thing. Like just the whole, like, yes, the whole contrast. And that's also why I did give him knuckles instead of firearms, because he is taking fisticuffs to a gunfight.
See, when you first told me that he was going to have like a cane that he'd walk around with, I was assuming it was going to end up being a cane sword. And then you're like, no, he snaps it into, it's knuckle dusters. Okay, awesome.
You know, just pure coincidence. I was listening to an album of some oldish music. I believe it was some dance music themed around gentlemen, mustaches, fisticuffs, etc. So I was listening to that like the techno dance music, and I was like, Cybertopia, this guy's like dance music. And, you know what? Let's just try to see if this stupid idea works.
Sounds like a very odd song. I need to hear this.
F777 Gentleman Showdown.
Hey, cool. Wow. All right, I'll be checking that one out after this.
If you like weird dance music, that is a middle ground between like electro swing and weird sci-fi beats, and then lightsaber sounds and that kind of weird stuff. Like all.
This sounds completely bonkers, and I'm well into it. So yeah, I will load that up after. Awesome.
So that was a happy fusion of circumstances.
Nice.
So that's kind of his origin, silly as it sounds.
Are you yourself really into tea?
No. Yes. Me and my wife drink a lot of tea. We got the loose teas. We got plenty of tea shops here in the Netherlands that you can buy loose teas from. We have like those metal tea eggs. So we have like a whole cabinet.
Wow, man.
One row of all kinds of black teas, and then also Assam and like Earl Grey and blah, blah, blah. And rooibos and herbal teas and like all kinds of things.
Nice.
But yeah, I really like tea.
Fair enough. Your episodes were some of the only ones which have any kind of sound effects in. Like, I didn't do any sound effects or background effects or anything in any of the editing. But then you did the occasional Foley with a teaspoon tinkling around or the pouring of some liquid and stuff. So that was a nice touch on your particular parts. That was good. So, did you listen to any of the other episodes?
I did, although it has been literal months.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And the ones that I didn't play in, I don't remember them all that well. I do have to admit, because, although the story as a whole, how you put up the different episodes, is really well done. That you have the same or similar story, but then from the eye view of different groups. Mm-hmm. Also, see that that's not the same group every mission, because Ingram's group was 2 times very different.
The first group was completely different to your second group, but then the third group was just one person had swapped. So Jeff came in place of Aiden in the final episode for you. Yeah. I did worry at the time, right, of putting the whole... Actually, I didn't worry beforehand. As soon as we got into the session for the finale, and I was like, oh God, I've put all of the social people in the same group. And then your rolls were ridiculous. The modifiers were so huge. But also your dice were all just rolling amazingly. So you were hitting like 30 pluses at points. And I was like, Jesus, okay, they've got this nailed. But then there were still a couple of failures at points. And I think you failed at a critical moment with a stealth roll, right?
Oh, yeah. And I believe also I think I've had once a negotiation roll when I was using T. So he was depressed that somebody, I believe it was something with T or like diplomacy that he got, and he momentarily got a bit depressed. Oh, no. Oh, no. Why?
When you split off from the others to go upstairs with the other 2 goons towards the end there, is that something you'd thought about previously? He would be the one to go off and take on the physical challenge? Or is it just a moment of panic and be like, I'll go?
Well, I did have a concern every time the party splits out of character. Like I've DM'd for ages as well. And I did have my fair share of party splits went haywire. I was afraid that I would siphon too much time from the other party, Makes me kind of feel bad. Although, you handled it perfectly. Like, that was pretty damn good. But in character, I believe he got semi-pushed forward because of his dueling and fisticuffs. Like, the rest of the party also was, if somebody would be able to down these 2 goons in time of need, it would probably be him. Mm-hmm. So...
And I think it was a really great opportunity for you to have that showdown kind of thing, because you've been set up for your dueling, but you've not really gotten to do any of that, and like the fisticuffs and stuff. So I thought it felt like a very cinematic moment. I really enjoyed that.
Also, the fact that this first goon went down pretty easily, but the second one, the rolls from my side started failing, and the rolls on your side started increasing. So that was the cinematic punch, steel pipe showdown.
I loved the steel pipe thing, or the not steel pipe as it turned out to be, because you were just tanking these hits from this pipe. It's like the rolls would really just kind of shape that entire scene. It was very good play.
It allowed for a lot of storytelling, and that's the most important part.
So, I mean, of the stuff that you remember from other people's missions, is there any that really sticks in your mind? Any favorite moments that you heard? Any favorite characters that you didn't get to play with that you'd love to play with in future?
Well, I was very curious after the ending cinematic thing. I was, okay, I need to listen to how the hell that flaming mech got there. Because now I'm curious, dang it.
Yeah.
So the whole storyline with the group up top, that was hilarious. I like that one. The people that I would like to play with, they all sounded great, to be entirely honest. I mean,
Yeah, it's
to
difficult
give
pick,
preference to one or two of them would feel like a disservice.
I get you. Yeah, I mean, the mech, I really love the mech because I'd never really considered mechs in this system until that point because mechs are such a big thing. And like a mech could completely eclipse other people's skills or a whole scene and stuff, especially because it was the only mech in the whole group. But it just worked. I don't know, like the way Ray played it and the fact he wasn't always in the mech was brilliant. Unfortunately, he did have to pull out of the whole podcast before the finale. So yeah, that was kind of the way of writing him out, that the mech just crashes in and you never know, I guess. I've left it open to interpretation and the possibility open that if he at some point chooses that he does want to come back, no one saw his body. I mean, as with all of you, no one saw the bodies. No one knows who survived or didn't. So if anybody's like, nah, I don't want to do this anymore, we're like, okay, they may or may not have died. You'll never see them again and never know.
I'm curious, were there any more like people that sadly retracted or so from the podcast?
Actually, no. Amazingly, for only one person from Macaster 16 to be pulling out was pretty impressive. I suppose everyone only did a maximum of 3 sessions over the course of the recording.
Oh, yeah.
Which isn't a lot. Like, it's not overbearing in that sense, but
no.
I guess the commitment and the space in your mind it takes up is probably more significant than that.
And also, look at it on your side of things. You basically created an environment and a show that people found exhilarating and easy to like get invested to, from our point of view. So...
I really like drop in, drop out kind of situations like we had and the mixing of the groups and just being able to shout out on the Discord, look, who's available at this point and who wants to do what mission, and then just mixing and matching from there was really good. I did try to shape it a bit more in the second and third sessions so that I was putting people together that I thought would mesh well in game, which is why you had 3 of the same people in your second and third sessions, because you all just worked well together and it was a good fit. And I've not planned out much of season 2 at all, really, but I've got ideas of giving it over to you players and letting you decide who you want to be with or what kind of stories you want to go down and giving you the player agency there. So
a small offer from my side. If you want help or want feedback with writing and that kind of thing, or just some brainstorming, let me know. Also, if you just want to hop in a call and let's just bounce ideas, let me know.
It's great that you say that, because that is kind of what I'm planning to do with season 2 of it'll be almost entirely player led. I will be the facilitator or whatever, but I want to give it completely over to you players and give you the agency to decide these are the stories we want to tell, and I will come to each of you as we're going through things to figure out what are you wanting to get out of this situation, where are you wanting to go, and what are you wanting to investigate. And that probably is a good segue to my next question of, are there any loose ends that you remember that you'd like to find out more about?
Oh, yes. There is not enough tea. No, but like the whole fallout in the second mission, Sir Ingram convinced a couple of people to almost go a little bit cultish on the whole tea thing. That also echoed through with the third one.
Yeah.
And maybe a couple of those people, not everybody that was there got captured. It was a whole chaotic fiasco. So people escaped. So my loose end would be, did any of the tea bros escape?
Oh, yeah. I mean, so the finale, right? The leaderships of each of the 3 main factions were decimated and their entourages. But the factions are a lot bigger than just those groups. There was maybe a couple of dozen from each group and the leaders. But there are still people out in Pylon 1 district and elsewhere in the city from those factions that are going to be left over and splinter and form new factions or have reduced power within their own faction and stuff. So part of what we will do before we go into season 2 is a faction/city building game that I've been writing as a hack of Beak, Feather and Bone that I'm really looking forward to playing and letting you guys all have a hand in creating this world and fleshing out factions and NPCs and stuff.
Is really great.
Yeah, I can't wait to get into this, and I'll probably be shouting out sessions for this in the next few weeks, maybe next month or so, so we can get to prepping, because I'm too excited to get into season 2, and there's just some groundwork we need to lay first. So
with Sir Ingram, on a non-T note, his goals will lean into that gentlemanly side of him. So maybe a little bit Robin Hood if he was like a posh noble, that kind of thing.
Okay.
So probably searching out the people that he met before and that he helped, and then probably expand from there.
I mean, he's been betrayed, which is like the ultimate ungentlemanly act.
Oh yeah, no, he will go on a warpath against the Corp.
But he'll do it in a gentlemanly manner.
Oh yes. He'll be the type of person that the Corp will get a letter in the mail. Wax seal and everything.
This is notification of my dispute.
Yeah, and dear Amazing Corp, this is a notification of my dispute. The leadership is to be on this address alone. Failure to comply will result in termination due to intervenal T insertion.
Love it. So I guess, would he be blaming Amazing Corp as a entity, or would he be looking out for individuals?
Leadership and individuals.
Okay.
One specific reason: that intern that you put at the start of the missions, that person was obviously he was a little bit miserable and like, damn it, and getting bossed around and such.
Yeah.
No, Ingram would go after people like the colonel or something?
Yeah, there was definitely a military gentleman, right? Yeah.
The ex-military guy and like the slave drivers, basically. While trying to get as many of the kicked around Amazing Core employees under his wing as he could. Also because, information.
Yeah, no, I'm kind of glad that you say this, because my aim with Amazing Corp was never to be like, they are a big evil corporation, and that is that. They are a big company and they have many sides to them, and there are the people that are just doing their jobs. There's the interns like George. I did a Halloween special with a group that I stream with. George had been fired and stuff, and you find out a little bit more about that. And so, yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing what kind of route you all will investigate and want to go down when we get into season 2. Because actually, initially, when I started doing these interviews, I didn't think there was many loose ends. And then I started thinking about it and like started talking to people. And, oh no, there was like the doctor that you took in the first episode. There was the people you captured in your second episode. And anyone else that might have survived from the finale or the other missions. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So I'm also very interested to see that world building session is going to be something else. Like how the players will interact and how we will all create a situation where we can still play our characters to our utmost.
My hope with it is that you'll all get a little bit of ownership in it and have a little bit of specialist knowledge, because I'm not going to have all 15 of you playing this game at the same time, because that would be chaos.
Keep your sanity intact.
Yeah, like if I do 3 or 4 of you, or maybe 5 playing it at once, and then when you go into the wider groups and maybe you mix with a group that did a different session, you'll have slightly different knowledge to each other and different inputs that you'd have had to the world that you'll be able to then share and then focus on and stuff. So yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see if it works and how well it comes together in the end.
Indeed. Yeah, it's going to be nice. One question that came to mind earlier, just because I am curious, because you might have edited it out. There was no fallout or conflict in any of our groups, as far as I know, at least. Were there any players that didn't gel together in any of the sessions?
I don't think so. Like, I remember thinking when we were doing the Greenhouse of Error mission, and Agent kept on wanting his character to eat stuff. Because he made a character that his whole thing was about having a detaching jaw, and he would just eat everything or anything. And I sent him into a greenhouse that was growing weird meat plants.
Yeah.
And he just wanted to eat everything. And so we had to keep on being like, no, it's raw. Stop trying to eat the stuff. And Rev, who was playing Julie, the mad scientist type, is very, I'm going to follow the rules that Amazing Corp has given me. You can't eat that stuff because that is Amazing Corp property. And so there was a little bit of tension there, but there was never any outright arguments or anything.
Oh, nice.
There was a very good moment in the finale, actually, that I really enjoyed, right towards the end. And it was the group that was having the big battle against the bosses up in the top floor. And it was after the battle had been finished, and there was one guy kind of left that they were kind of interrogating. And the thing happened where the little red light went on your communicators. And Toby, being played by D, was like, okay, well, I guess this is the sign that we need to finish this person off because the red light's gone off. If we don't, we're going to get exploded or killed by Amazing Corp or something. And then Casa, who played Amelia, was like, hey, Toby, don't you want to be your own person? Do you always have to follow the rules? You don't have to do exactly what everyone tells you. You're not a soldier. And that was a really good moment. It wasn't conflict as such, but it was that really moral...
Mm-hmm. Like the moral conundrum kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. The moral conundrum, that's the words, yeah. And that was a great moment. And sometimes a little bit of light conflict in a group can be really good for a story, and especially in like an AP, really works.
As long as it doesn't bleed it out of character.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I said, everyone's really cool people.
Oh yeah.
The whole cast were very chill and very great, and there was never a session that we ended where it felt like there was any bad blood or anything, even when there'd been absolute shite rolls, even when people had disastrous times with the dice. Those moments were still fun.
Oh, yes.
I don't feel like anyone ever seemed beaten down by anything. And those failure moments were some of the most fun. Like when someone rolls a nat 1 and something ridiculous happens, that's great. It was never a case of, you rolled a nat 1 and you've done something stupid or silly and your character has completely embarrassed themselves and wrecked the whole mission. And that was it. There was never any disasters.
No, but also what I noticed, this group, they've obviously all played TTRPGs before.
Yeah.
Because when somebody rolled a nat 1 and shit hit the fan, everybody started improvising all at once. Wait, hold up. This.
Yeah.
Let's go.
The way everyone reacted to everything was just brilliant. And a lot of the cast had done APs before, which was really handy. But a lot of them had never done an actual play or a recording or even a live streamed game before. Everyone had been playing various games like D&D or Pathfinder or whatever in their own spaces for years. Mm-hmm. But I don't think any of them had ever played something quite so rules light as this. And it just let them let loose.
Nope.
So
I certainly didn't.
Do you have a preferred kind of game?
I mostly play Pathfinder 1e and 2e at the moment. D&D 5th I still play more often to Pathfinder 2e, I guess. Yeah. Although Pathfinder 2e's system I really like. Mm-hmm. I'm the kind of person that can get enthusiastic when a system is very customizable. So deep character creation I do like.
Yeah, I mean Pathfinder.
But like rules light like this is also like sometimes you just feel like rules light, you know?
Yeah, I mean it's nice to have a kind of broad experience base. Yeah. Some people really love the crunch, some people really don't love the crunch. So yeah, indeed. I find it's nice to have a bit of a mix. Sometimes you just want something you really dig your teeth into, right?
Oh yeah, indeed. Really dig teeth into, really get that puzzle going. Mm-hmm. And what I hear quite often is people say that, you know, if you have a crunch-heavy system, it impedes roleplay. I'm like, no. You have a lot of handholds. You know what your character can do. Nothing on your sheet says that you cannot roleplay like this. Yeah, you know, some systems do. This is why I do not use alignment in any of my systems. Alignment, I've got a couple of words to say about that. Won't go into that here, because then I'm ranting for the following 2 hours.
Yeah, no, I get you.
But if you have like a Pathfinder character sheet, and you have your fighter, you have all your attacks and your magic items, I often find that it helps. People start digging if they don't know how to react in a situation. Like, okay, you know, especially if it's very high magic and high stakes. People start like, okay, I don't know what to do. They start digging through their abilities and their items and use that as inspiration. Yeah. And if I DM rather loosely, if they have an ability that kind of fits the theme and they want to do something very creative with it, let's go. As long as it doesn't break the setting, break the game, why the hell not?
I think this is the crux of the issue, right? Any game can work. It just depends more on the group than the system. So you can have a very crunchy system. You can have a very mechanics-heavy system, but you can still have a group that's going to roleplay the shit out of it. So yeah.
Oh yeah. My group does. I played Pathfinder 1E. I've got 2 groups that run now for 5.5 years each. Mm-hmm. There are times that I'm just making tea in the kitchen with just my headset on, and that they are discussing things and role-playing amongst themselves and discussing. I give a lot of information and lore tidbits, and they're discussing the hell out of them, being suspicious as fuck. And I can just leave them alone for 50 minutes before they say, Mark, we need this. Like, give it to them 5 minutes, and then they discuss again for 30. They're like, yeah, great session, Mark.
That's great, man.
Great DM. And I'm like, I didn't do anything.
Yeah. I mean, everyone had a good time.
Oh, yes.
You were present. That's fine. Yeah. So I feel like this is a good opportunity for us to talk about what else you do in the space. Those sessions, are those part of your Lugon project, or is that... Yeah.
2 home groups. That's where Lugon started, basically. Mm-hmm. So I'm still writing because it's a massive project. Although I am cutting it into pieces now. Because I noticed, I want to give this to people to use. Because there's also a lot of new mechanics that might be fun. Classes, etc. Factions that people can insert.
So what is it exactly? Is it a setting for Pathfinder, or...?
It's a setting.
Right.
At the moment for Pathfinder and D&D 5th.
Okay.
But I am planning on splitting the mechanical bits from the lore part. So if you want to have the setting and implant it in, Fate, for example.
Right.
You could. Just that you have the lore and the history behind it.
System agnostic setting sort of thing. Yeah. And then you have the additional mechanics side if you want to have that. So how long have you been doing this? It seems like it's been a very long-term project.
Oh, yeah. 6 years, 7 years.
Oh, man. How many words are you up to, dude?
Last time I checked, it was around 500,000 to 600,000.
Oh my god, man. Okay, yeah, you definitely need to split this up. Like, wow. Okay. That's an encyclopedia.
Oh, yeah. One part of that is GM information, so all the lore and the races. I'm a biologist. I have got ecology and evolutionary things for the races and stuff. However, I'm also a teacher. I teach high school students. So what I also did was translate all that university level stuff and all that in depth to actually read well. Yeah. And that it's nice to read and easier to understand. That's hard. But yeah, basically the crux of Lugon is you have a setting. And what if we build everything from the ground up? Like with evolution and ecology, that's still there, but every life form from the beginning had access to magic. So everything evolved and sprouted and adapted with magic in mind.
Okay, this sounds complicated already.
Oh yeah, well, it's not really. So basically that's the premise.
Yep. So that's the first 100,000 words?
No. I think that is the first 200 words. Okay, and after that, it goes into the setting, how it is in current times. But what this means is, for example, dragons. Dragons in D&D have a lot of, because magic did it.
Yeah.
The consequence of making Lugon the way I did was, magic did it, doesn't cut it.
Everything has a root now, right?
Yeah. And dragons are plump, heavy. They have a breath weapon or breath weapons with effects that they didn't go in depth on. And Lugon has the abilities that creatures have make more sense. Have you played Monster Hunter, for example?
Yeah.
Okay, you have that electricity lizard cat. After I made one of my creatures, I was told, hey, that looks a little bit like that one. But Lugon has a creature that is basically a combination between a direwolf and a giant cat with manes and such. And those manes have traces of, that your own hair fluffs up when you rub a balloon and such. Static electricity, zap.
Okay.
Basically how that works is include magic in the mix, and they have a mane that is entirely static, and they generate electricity and store it as they move, and then deliver it with a bite.
Nice. Okay,
so they have an ability in the stat blocks. It's, of course, way easier to explain. Creature, every time it moves 20 feet around, it gains more electricity damage on its natural attacks, for example.
That's pretty cool.
That way, the monsters are a little bit more grounded.
They're explainable and make sense in the world, right?
They're still fantastical. They're still magical. They wouldn't work in the real world, but they make a little bit more sense.
Yeah, internal logic is what matters. Yeah, that's cool, man.
Consistency.
So, how much further do you think you're going to take the writing and the development of this before you're going to consider it ready?
Well, for a good part, it is ready.
Okay.
I have tried to kickstart it once.
Oh, right.
But
I can't remember that.
My timing is horrible.
Mm-hmm.
I kickstarted it for 5e and Pathfinder at around the same time that Wizard had that OGL thing.
No.
So what happened is that people were like, oh no, OGL, oh, this project now probably cannot go further.
How bugger.
Yeah, no.
I guess as disappointing as that must have been, it probably actually works out. Like if you kickstarted it before that and then that happened, then you might have had to change a whole bunch of things or felt like you needed to change some stuff before.
It did still set me back with advertising costs and such.
Yeah. Oof. Yep. Yeah.
But, I still got the art. I still got some of the,
a lot of stuff
things
that you can still reuse. It's just,
But it's a bummer. But one thing I also learned is this goes for every TTRPG creator that's currently listening. Please don't attempt these kind of things alone. You'll burn yourself out in like a week or two.
You know what? When I was researching about doing actual play podcasts and stuff before launching this whole project, that was one of the things that I kept on getting said to me. Like, don't do it on your own. Don't do it on your own. Get someone to help with the production, the editing and stuff. I still went and ended up trying to do it on my own. And it works out, I think, well enough. Editing continues to be a bit of a pain, but it's enjoyable in a way. Like, I don't know, editing has become a bit of a love-hate thing, and it's kind of a happy place for me when I'm having a tough time with work or whatever. I'll go home and do some editing in the evening, and it will just take me away from it all. But yeah, man, running a podcast and running an actual play is hard work. Yeah. Or any of these sorts of projects, try not to do it on your own because, hard.
Yeah. Or, get a group of crazy players involved that can lighten your spirits.
Yeah, and I mean, that really helped. The fact that everyone in the group had some sort of experience. Most of you had done some sort of TTRPG creator stuff, whether it was art or actual plays or creating your own systems or your own settings and stuff. So I've been able to lean on some of you at points. Like Valerie did the theme tune and helped with some of that stuff, and being able to get advice from some of you who have done recording and stuff in the past or editing and that sort of stuff has been immensely helpful. So I will continue and probably do more of that, leaning on you all as we go into season 2.
Good.
I'll probably stick to doing the editing myself because, like I said, as much as it is a bit of a pain, I do enjoy it. It's, one of those things. So, yeah.
No, like with Lugon, I'm more and more just, I'll probably start calling for help. This and this and this. I need help with this. I cannot promise 100%. I can promise a percentage of this or something. You know what? Let's snap a deal, or otherwise you help me and I help you with your next project, team-wise or map making, etc. I did that once before. I've written with a collaborator.
Cool.
It's basically a guide for doing large-scale battles. So with large units and with
tactical wargame kind of situation.
Yeah. And how to insert that into a TTRPG. And not only D&D, but we even have rules for systems that don't use D20s. Okay, if you want a little bit of a crunchy but easy to do battle system with a large scale battle, you can use this.
Cool.
And how I arranged it was, I help write this free of charge.
What's it called again?
Fabled Battles and Warfare. If you want to buy, I still got stash over here if you want to.
Yeah.
No, but I helped with this, and in turn, he is helping me with writing and editing Lugon content, for example.
Yeah.
And I am planning on doing more of that. So
I imagine the Lugon book is a fair chunk thicker than that one.
Oh, yeah, but it's not going to be one book.
Yeah.
It's going to be multiple.
So are you thinking about kickstarting it again?
Yeah.
Or kickstarting part of it again soon?
Yeah. I was planning on kickstarting it originally in a month or maybe 1.5, 2 months.
Oh, okay.
Give or take. However, that was a couple of months ago because, in about a month, I'm going to be a father.
Oh, shit. Congrats, dude. Wow.
Thanks. Which means that a good amount of my attention span is going to be redirected to that.
All right. So I'll get back in touch with you in like 4, 5, 6, 12 years' time.
Oh, no.
Man, I've got a 2 and a 5-year-old. I know how they affect your time and your life.
One benefit, Lugon side though, I'll be staying home a lot more. So I'm getting a lot more writing done when the baby is asleep.
Yeah. Yeah, that is good. That's nice.
So yeah. And then again, Kickstarters involve a lot of typing in social media. So who knows, maybe it won't get delayed because I have more time here at home I need to spend.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as you get the coming soon page and stuff up, give me a shout. I'll be on there and I'll be spreading it around because, yeah, it sounds like a big undertaking.
Yeah.
Hey, so quick editor note here. Since we recorded this, Mark has welcomed his new wee one into the world and also launched the coming soon page for the Lugon Kickstarter. So go search for that there or check it out through the link I'll chuck into the episode notes. And hang around at the end of this episode for Mark's promo. Cool, man. I think we've kind of covered everything. You asked a couple of questions as we were going. Is there anything else you'd like to ask me before you wrap up?
Oh, yes, one. So you're going to do season 2, right?
Mm-hmm.
How many seasons do you think, hope, or dread this will last?
Man, I hadn't really thought even that far ahead into season 2 yet. My thinking, right, is that in season 1, you were in a different group every session, which was great for having different feels to each mission and each group and stuff. What I'd really like to do in season 2 is to have you in the same group for 4, 5, 6 sessions so that you can really develop those interpersonal bonds and get those character moments and then go through your own character arcs as well, because everyone had their little moments in season 1, but there wasn't really enough to properly do character development. So I'd like to do that. And so maybe the way that season 2 ends up getting broken up will be more like there's 3 or 4 mini seasons within the season, if you get what I mean.
Oh yeah.
So I guess we'll see how that goes. And I don't know, maybe towards the end of this year when we've gotten a whole chunk of this done, we'll see what we feel like as a group, like how things could move forward. Because I mean, there was a very distinct defining moment at the end of season 1 where you all get thrown under the bus by Amazing Core, and now you're going to be out in the open world doing whatever you want to do next. If it feels like we are coming towards another kind of climactic moment at the end of season 2 that is going to change things again, maybe there'll be an opportunity for a season 3, and who knows what from there. Yeah, I haven't really got that many grand plans.
Right. I mean, that's clear. I mean, you know, doing it organically like that, I think that's a good way to go about it.
And I mean, who knows? We might also just get very tired of doing it all. So,
if I'm gauging the enthusiasm, I am suspecting that if you don't put a stop at one point, people are going to say yes for maybe about, I don't know, season or 12.
Yeah, I guess we'll see how it goes. Yeah, you never know until you get starting, really. And I don't want to put any hard promises down either way of like, this will be the last one or this will go forever. We'll just see.
As long as it stays fun for everybody, including the GM, then it's all good, right?
And I mean, I'm going to continue to do it kind of flexibly, of kind of drop in, drop out things so that people aren't stuck on a schedule of you need to come here every Tuesday, do this every single week for the next year. Because as much as that is great for keeping the content going and churning out the weekly episodes or whatever, that is something that takes a toll on people.
Yeah, also drains the fun out of the hobby at some point.
But yeah, okay. I've had a great time talking to you, dude.
Yeah, same.
This was really cool. I'm excited to hear where Sir Ingram goes next and his Robin Hood journey.
Somewhere with lots of tea. Are you heading out, traveler, into the wilds where horrors lurk and wonders reside? Well, I wish you good luck and merry travels. Hello everybody, I am Mark Evegaars from the Lugon Project, a project focused on evolution and magic entwined, where horrors and wonders go hand in hand. Give our Kickstarter a look and don't miss out on those juicy rewards.